friends, welcome back to Simply Home and Harvest. Today is a part 2 of the food storage organization. So if you missed the first part, I'm going to link that in the description box below so you can go back and watch that. But I wanted to hop on here and say welcome to all of my new subscribers. Recently we hit 1,000 subscribers, which is so exciting, and I want to do something to celebrate that with you all. So on Friday, March the 3rd at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Tim and I, my husband here, Tim and I are going to join you live for a special celebration, live Q&A, little chat, Q&R. Yeah, he says Q&R, question and response, because we might not have the answer. But we're going to just chat live, and we might actually do some baking together as well. So mark your calendars, and hopefully you will join us on Friday, March the 3rd at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So let's get to this week's video. So today is a part 2 of our food storage organization. So before we get started, I just wanted to give you a look at the shelves before we start our decluttering and organization process. Now, these were once pretty organized, but we come down here and we just kind of drop our groceries or we get in a hurry. And so things just need to be straightened up a little bit and reorganized. And so I thought I would bring you along on that project today. Be sure to stay tuned at the end of this video. I'll give you a little tour and show you everything that we keep in our food storage and why we do what we do. Alright guys, we're pretty much finished, but before I give you the tour, I wanted to tell you a little bit about our food storage setup. Now, we have our downstairs food storage, which is kind of like our overflow, and then we also have a smaller upstairs pantry. It's a linen closet that I converted into a pantry a few years ago, and it really works well for us. That's where we keep all of our everyday items. That's where we keep our flour, our sugar, all those things there, but we keep like our bulk storage down here. So if the sugar and flour gets low upstairs, I just come downstairs, pick from my bulk storage, and then I just refill those containers upstairs. So that system has worked out so well for us. I'm just thankful that we have enough space to be able to do that. Now, let me preface this by saying that we are not preppers. We don't hoard things. What we do is we just like to keep a stock of what we use on hand. So I don't have anything that's like in Mylar bags that I'm keeping for 30 years from now. Now that is a wonderful goal. It's something that maybe in the future we will talk about. But right now we just try to keep about, I would say like a 3 to 6 month food supply on hand. Now we might have more of a 6-month food supply as far as like our canned items, the items that we have canned ourselves. Also, like our freezer meats and stuff, we probably have a whole lot more than a 6-month food storage there. But I guess I would say we keep around a 6-month food supply. So more so probably than a 3-month. But because of the pantry challenge, we have been pulling from a lot of our canned foods. And so some of the things are low, but I'm going to show you how I try to keep track of all that. And I won't restock things today. That might have to happen on another video because I do need to wrap things up. We've got some other things we need to take care of today, but I just wanted to show you our food storage downstairs. So if you're interested in what the pantry upstairs looks like, I will try to link that playlist down below and show you all of the ways that we store our food here. All right, so I told you this is a 2-shelf system. So this is the front of the shelf, then there's a shelf around back. And this is how we have it organized. This is our top shelf. It holds all of our paper towels and bathroom tissue, and also some tissues up there. And what I like to do is I like to stay like a pack ahead. And this is from, I'm sorry, I have blue marker on my finger. This is from Sam's Club, and it comes like 5 rolls of 9 in a pack. So when we get down to 5 rolls, I want to go ahead and get another pack of toilet paper, and that's how I do it. And then as far as our paper towels, it's the same thing. This is just 1 pack from Sam's, and probably when we get about halfway through this pack, then I put it on my list that I want to go ahead and get another big pack of paper towels. So that's how I keep up with that. We don't overstock toilet paper and paper towels. I know we could, because of what happened a few years ago, but we don't. And then we try to keep a stock of tissues because we have the allergies sometimes around here, and it's just nice to have those on hand. So we keep our tissues right there. So you can see that we probably need to get some more tissues. And then back here, this is a gingerbread house. I don't know if you remember, I bought it like on clearance and kept that. That's what we do every year because we don't eat our gingerbread house. We just like to decorate it. So it's okay if it expires. We are good with that. But that is what the top shelf looks like. And oh, one more thing I wanted to say before I go to the second shelf is that we started this in 2019. In 2019, I just felt this urgency to start like trying to keep about 3 months of food supply on hand, just of the things that we used a lot. I just didn't like to run out of stuff that we use on an everyday basis, like toilet paper, like toothpaste, like ketchup at that time in our house. So that was what kind of inspired this. And I just did what worked for us. I just made a system. At first, I was keeping everything upstairs in the pantry, and then it got to be a little bit more than what I wanted to store up there. And so when we redid our basement, we put these shelves in just to hold the overflow. So I really didn't start to accumulate and do this sort of grocery store downstairs, as I like to call it, until about the fall of 2019. Now, when 2020 rolled around, spring of 2020, I did start to buy a little bit extra each time I would go in anticipation that things might start running out. So that is the backstory on this. But on this aisle, see, I do call it my grocery store, and I act like it's a grocery store. On this shelf, we have our canned items. Now, we keep a lot of pumpkin on hand because we do love to have pumpkin pancakes. And I like to buy it when it's on sale, which is in the fall, because when it's not on sale, it can be quite expensive. So all the way back here is pumpkin. And then we've got some random things. We have a can of yams. There's a can of cherry pie filling and apple pie filling to make like cobblers and things. I like to have that on hand. And then we have cream of chicken, which one day I'm going to get around to showing you how you can make your own cream of chicken. That is so much better than the can, but this is definitely a convenience item. And so I just have these little plastic storage containers, and I find that I don't know, it just works better for me. The things that we keep a lot of to keep in these, because then I can just stack them a little bit better. So that's our cream of chicken. And then right here we have some evaporated milk. Oh, and I pull the ones to the front that are going to expire first. So these are going to expire this year. So that's why they're pulled to the front so that we can grab those first. And I try to do that with all my cans. I try to make sure that the ones that are going to expire first are on top. And to keep track of that, every few months, I will come down here about every 6 months and make sure that I've got that rotation still in place. So this is our evaporated milk. I don't use it a lot. I use it when I make macaroni and cheese in the crock pot, so I don't have too much on hand. But that is our evaporated milk. And then I've got green beans. We've got several cans of green beans. We like to have that on hand. Back there in the back, I think those are some cans of chicken noodle soup, and there's a tomato soup, so you can see that's got pretty low. And then we're down to 1 bag of pinto beans. We also have some kidney beans, so that's on my menu plan if we can get some cold days to make a big pot of pinto beans and some cornbread. Even when it's not cold, I like that, because I have some ham bones in the freezer I want to use up. And then we have our green peas here. We've got a couple of cans, and then we've got some tuna, about 4 cans of tuna. So like I said, those things have gotten a little low. Here's our corn, our cans of corn. And then back here we have our crushed tomatoes. I've got so many of these cans because we've got those frozen tomatoes upstairs that I wanted to turn into pizza sauce. And this was going to help make that pizza sauce go a little bit further. So that's why I've got so many of those. And then I have just random beans. Here's baked beans, pinto beans, some Great Northern beans.
Greens, potatoes, tomatoes,
Tim's home.
Hogs,
Then I've got a couple of cans of dark kidney beans and black beans. But normally I keep about 3 to 4 cans, or I would like to keep about 3 to 4 cans of each of the beans on hand. But, you know, like I said, our stock has gotten a little bit low. We have 1 can of diced tomatoes left, a can of tomato paste left, which this I may not even get to this year. I'll have to, if you saw my method of how I save tomato paste, you'll know that when you freeze it in the little scoops, then it lasts a whole lot longer. We've got a couple of cans here of the diced green chilies. And while I'm on this side, let me just take you here and tell you, this is what I go by. Now, this is a list that I made probably back in 2019 or 2020 maybe. And so I probably got a little carried away on the amounts that I wanted to keep on hand just because, you know, what we were going through then. So I may not do as much of this. I need to kind of revamp this, go back through it and see, do I really need to keep this much flour, sugar, all those things on hand? Some of the things we might need to keep more of. And then we maybe could reduce the amount of some of the others. But this is my master list that I go by. And it just helps me to know, like, what we go through, what we need, what we will eat. And then I've got a second page to it. I've got all our canned items and dry packaged things. And then bottled water, apple juice, all our spices, our medications. And then our toiletry items. I've got all of that listed there. And like I said, I'm going to sit down and do an inventory and see if we can make changes to any of this. And this is just kind of like what we have upstairs, our cold storage, what we like to keep on hand. So that's an overview. So what I do is I come over here and I say, okay, how many oats do I like to keep? Okay, I like to keep 4 cans of oats on hand. Well, I have 1 upstairs that, you know, we use. And then I've got 3. You'll see I've got 3 cans down here, so we're pretty good on oats. But when I use a can of oats, what I try to do is add that to my grocery list the next time so that I can constantly keep 4 cans of oats on hand. And this just helps with, you know, keeping a good inventory so that we don't run out of things. And so that if something happens like it did a few years ago and things are hard to find, that we are prepared for that. The backyard shelves, and we'll try to move quickly through this because I don't want this to be a really long video, but it might be already. I don't know. I try to keep our sugars and flours, rice, things like that in these containers. Now, these are food storage containers. This is actually an icing container that I picked up at Sam's Club. If you go to the bakery in your local Sam's Club, maybe even Walmart, places like that, you can generally buy these for, I think these are $2 a piece for the larger ones. and they are happy to get rid of them. They'll even wash them out for you. Now, they hold icing, so I have to normally bring them home and wash them out again, but they are wonderful containers, and they will keep things nice and fresh. So I keep powdered sugar and brown sugar in their packages in here because we don't store a lot of that. I think I keep like 3 of each of these on hand. So I just put the bags in this just to seal it up, and it keeps for a really long time. And we've got, this is kind of our baking. We've got some pie shells there, a couple of boxes of cake mix, some pudding mix, and icing just in case, you know, we need to bake up a cake. And then I've got like my salt and baking powder, baking soda. I just try to keep like one ahead on these things. I've got a couple things of Italian seasoning because I think I accidentally bought, and the same thing with the cinnamon, and then baking cocoa. So I just try to keep one ahead on these things. And then the grits, same thing, one ahead. We do not use grits a lot. I keep some powdered milk back here, and a couple boxes is what I try to have on hand, but, you know, lately 1 box is probably good enough. I've got, like I said, 3 cans of oats. I've got 1 of the quick oats and then 2 of the old-fashioned, or maybe it's 2 of the quick oats, 1 of the old-fashioned. Anyway, I try to keep like 2 of each on hand, and then I try to keep some muffin mix on hand. The kids like that. We love our Hungry Jack pancake mix, so I try to keep a couple boxes of these on hand, and I think I've got an extra one upstairs as we do go through that. And then this is good for our, you know, convenience meal. Alex loves the macaroni and cheese from Aldi, so I keep a couple of boxes of those. Jiffy mix, stuffing mix. These are things that have gotten low because we've been using things as part of the pantry challenge. We've got a couple boxes of elbow macaroni, but we're out of spaghetti noodles, I noticed, again, so I need to get that on our list. We've got some instant rice down here, and then I just have this basket of our, like, packaged things, like some turkey gravy mix, some taco seasoning, Italian seasoning. We try to keep ranch seasoning on hand because I do use those in a lot of dishes. And then, I think I showed this to you before, but this is the Formula L Southern Biscuit mix, and this is wonderful for a quick batch of biscuits. If you don't have time to make them from scratch, this is a good alternative. And these were on sale at our grocery store, so I picked up a good supply of them when they were on sale. And so that's where they're going to live for now. And then down here we've got, this is full of bags of rice. And I try to keep about 3 to 4 bags on hand. So right there, that is, let's see, that's 2 big bags, and I've got some upstairs. So I've got, this is just a storage container that also came from, actually I think that came from a friend of ours. But that's a good storage bucket for the rice. And then our white sugar is in here. Right now, I've just got it in the bags that it came in. And I try to keep about 4 to 5 bags worth. I haven't opened it up and actually just poured it in here like I do our flour. And it still works. It still keeps it. So I do that because I can just take the bag upstairs rather than bring the whole bucket. But when it comes to the bread flour, I do typically bring the whole bucket and refill those. So it's just a preference thing. But like this is empty right now because I need to get more bread flour. And then our all-purpose flour is about half full. And I would say that that holds at least 30 pounds of flour, if you're wondering. But like I said, it's not full right now. And then down here is where I keep like extra bags of flour. Y'all know I make a lot of bread, so I do not want to run out of flour. And so I keep my unbleached flour, which is what I use for our bread flour down here. There's some self-rising flour in there, and then there's some regular all-purpose flour. So I just try to stay ahead on that. Now, you'll see that I said 50 pounds. I want to keep 50 pounds on hand. I think I was doing that at one time, but I'm probably not as much anymore. But I do need to get back to storing that like I was. And then we've got a tote down here for trash bags, Ziploc bags, feminine products. That's what that's full of. And I just try to keep one ahead on like my plastic wrap and foil, parchment paper, wax paper, those things, trash bags, like one ahead, sandwich bags, freezer bags, that kind of thing. And then we've got our paper products. That's just paper plates, paper cups, disposable things in that one. All right, now we come around to the back side of our food storage down here. And on the top, I just have, like I said, just random things. Toiletries, some extra Tylenol, and let's see what's over here. These are our space bags and some mops. Not mops. Some mopping cloths. And then we've got mouthwash, just like I said, odds and ends, alcohol, our cleaning products and stuff. Some egg cartons, extra egg cartons. But that's just some random things and a good place to put those. And then we're running low on these things too. I try to keep probably at least 2 or 3 apple cider vinegars, which we do have the apple cider vinegar that we made upstairs. So I really don't need too much of this. But we're down to 1 extra virgin olive oil, same thing. I try to keep at least 2 or 3 of these things, but we have used up a lot. So we've got some coconut oil, barbecue sauces. It's just where we store our condiments. I've got an extra vegetable juice there for when we made our vegetable soup. And then here we've got some Parmesan cheese that I like to keep on hand. I've got a couple of jars of Alfredo, and we're down to 3 jars of spaghetti sauce. So that's something that we definitely are going to have to restock. I try to keep like probably at least 8 jars of spaghetti sauce on hand because we do use a lot of that. And then we've got some bacon bits here, some bacon pieces. We use those for different recipes. We make a lot of homemade pizza, so I try to keep 2 or 3 bags of pepperonis on hand. And then these are some soup mixes that we like to keep on hand just as a convenience item. Chicken noodle. There's some cheddar broccoli back there, I think. And then we've got our chicken broth here. Now, you'll know that we we froze some bone broth. So we've got a lot of that we're going to use. But then here's our chicken broth that we try to keep stocked. I try to keep like 3 or 4 of these and a couple of the beef broth. That's not one that we use as often. And then we've got 3 bottles of vegetable oil, which if you know, vegetable oil went way up in price a few months ago. So I was trying to get some extra before it kept rising. The prices kept rising, but we don't use the vegetable oil as much as we used to. We're trying to find some healthier options. So that's what we're down to is 3 bottles, and that should be enough. And then these are just extra snacks that we keep on hand. This is just a box of ramen. The kids like to have that every now and then. I've got some extra chips. There's crackers, pretzels, some oyster crackers, just extra things that we just our extra snacks that we store down here. And then here's some hot chocolate mix. I try to keep an extra bag of coffee so they don't run out. And this is the whole bean coffee, and then I just grind my own as I need it. Then this is instant coffee. We use that when we made our cozy coffee. We try to keep peanut butter on hand because we go through a lot of peanut butter. I like to buy the No Stir Creamy Natural Peanut Butter, and Ella told me to store it upside down because that would keep it from being having so much liquid, but I don't think that's working. So we thought we'd give it a try, but I noticed when I opened it up that it was still kind of the same thing. It says no stir, but you do have to stir it that one time, I believe. But anyway, we like that peanut butter, and so we keep several of those on hand. And then this is, I call this like our snack mix box because we keep our dried cranberry. I try to keep an extra of each. Peanuts, there's raisins, some chocolate chips, dark chocolate chips, some coconut. We've got chia seeds down here, and we like to keep those on hand for snacks. Of course, chocolate chips you should always have on hand, right? In case you need some cookies real quick. And then down at the bottom, you've already seen this. I didn't do much down here, just kind of clean it up a bit, but this is just extra things. We've got a punch bowl, just stuff for entertaining, really. Some dishes, extra coffee maker. I think there's a drink dispenser down there. And then just some extra dishes, baking, like cookie cutters and stuff, some extra bins. And then on the back side over here, this is where I've got some vinegar stored and some drinking water. And our bottled water we currently have upstairs, but I do need to restock that as well. So that's just a quick overview of our food storage. And like I said, we're going to have to restock some things, maybe rethink some things, and just see. I don't want to keep what we don't use. And so this has really helped me see, getting organized and decluttering things has really helped me to see what we really do use and some things that we could do without. My motto is to use what you have. So we're going to use up what we have on hand, and then, we may not restock some things. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. This might end up being 2 parts. I'm really not sure. I'm trying to hurry up before my battery dies. So I hope this will inspire you that you don't have to hoard, but you can be prepared. You can keep the things that you use all the time in stock. And if you have just a closet, an extra tote, just something that you can keep a couple extra things in that you go through a lot, just start somewhere. That's what I did. I just started with a little space upstairs, and then we just kind of grew to this. But we are a family of 4, so we do consume, quite a bit. We have 2 teenagers in the house. We definitely need our food storage. You hear the little chicks in the background. I might let you take a little peek at those before I end. But I'm going to stop the video here. And I just want to remind you of the live that's coming up on Friday, March the 3rd at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. So be sure that you join me for that. We're going to have some fun. I hope it'll be our first time, so we'll all learn this together. Tim's going to join me, and we're going to take your questions. We're going to bake a little something, I think, while we chat, but it's going to be fun. And I hope that you will join us for that. But until next time, I hope that you will live simply, use what you have, and enjoy the moments you've been given. And I will see you in the next one. Bye, friends. Here's a little peek at all that noise. Yeah, it's lunchtime for everybody. We have a couple shy ones there. They're so sweet.